is in motion. In preparation for the lift, the boom extension or jib should be erected if required. And the crane should be reeved with the required number of parts of line to safely accommodate the load to be lifted. The operator and other personnel must know how to properly and safely assemble and disassemble boom sections, and how to properly and safely erect and stow boom extensions and jibs. When the operator is satisfied with the setup and condition of the crane, the operator must make sure he knows the weight of the load to be lifted and the location of its center of gravity. The operator must also be satisfied that the load is properly rigged and set. At this point, the operator must recheck the crane's load chart to make sure that the load to be lifted will remain within the crane's capacity limits throughout the entire lift. Overloading can cause a mobile crane to overturn or fail structurally. Load rating charts are usually based on the crane being at a standstill. However, cranes are sometimes used in pick and carry operations. Never use a crane for pick and carry operations unless authorized by the manufacturer's load chart and operator's manual. Consult the manufacturer's load chart and instructions for capacity, travel speed, working area, tire pressure, and other instructions. When performing a pick and carry operation, avoid sudden starts and stops. Turn only when necessary at the slowest possible speed and at a very wide turning radius. Provide tag lines to prevent the load from swinging. Use the shortest boom possible and keep the load as close to the ground as conditions will permit. When operating a crane equipped with electronic equipment such as a load moment indicating system, the operator must have a thorough knowledge of how such a system works and how to use it. Because there are different types of crane limiting and indicating devices and systems, knowledge of the crane's particular system is essential. When using a crane equipped with a load moment indicating system, the operator must program the system to correspond with the crane's configuration and applicable load chart. The operator must understand that while operator aids such as load moment indicators, anti-two-block systems, and hoist drum rotation indicators may be extremely helpful, they must not be relied upon for safe crane operation. The operator must remain in control of the crane at all times. The operator must use his own skill and knowledge to determine the weight of the load and to decide whether or not it can be lifted. The operator must also be able to determine where its center of gravity is located and if the load is properly balanced. He must be aware of and avoid conditions such as side loading, dynamic loading, and shock loading that can have an adverse effect on the crane's structural and capacity limits and can damage the crane's wire rope. Safety must be the most important concern of the operator, who is in complete command of the operation of his crane. Each load should be moved slowly and smoothly, and taglines should be used to control motion of the load throughout each lift. The signalman and crane operator must stay alert to ensure that no part of the load, wire rope, or boom comes too close to electrical power lines or other obstructions. The signalman's sole duty should be to observe safe clearances between the crane, the load being lifted, and the power lines. The signalman must give timely warnings to the crane operator to ensure the safety of everyone around the crane. If the crane operator's attention is diverted, all craning operations must cease immediately. Safe crane operation during a lift depends upon the alertness and skill of the personnel involved. Environmental conditions at the job site can affect the safety of lifting operations. Special care is required during periods of inclement weather. Snow and ice should be removed from cranes before use. Crane operations should be discontinued at any sign of impending thunderstorms and in high winds. After lifting operations have been completed, the crane must be properly shut down and secured. The load should be lowered. The boom should be retracted and lowered. Boom extensions and jibs should be stowed. The superstructure should be locked. Rigging should be secured. The keys should be removed. And the cab doors should be locked. Use of a crane to handle personnel is a dangerous practice. If use of a crane to handle personnel is the least hazardous method to perform work, it should be done only if permitted by the crane manufacturer and then in strict compliance with the manufacturer's instructions. In summary, safe crane operation depends upon planning, the operator's proficiency and knowledge of the crane, proper crane setup, reading, understanding, and following load charts, observing and adjusting to job site conditions, effective communications, and applying personal skills and common sense during lifting operations. While it is not possible nor practical to cover every aspect of crane safety in one program, we hope that the safety precautions recommended in this video provide you with a starting point for developing good safety habits. Read and follow all safety instructions provided by your company and the crane manufacturer. Then put what you've learned into practice. You'll be protecting yourself as well as others from serious harm and expense. Remember, you are the real key to crane safety.